What is going on, wrestling fans? Happy Saturday. Hope all well. And welcome to From the Bleachers Sports Show. Bit of wrestling news that came down that I forgot to put in my little vidcast podcast thing there that I want to talk about, and that's the revival being released from the WWE. And my thoughts on this. Listen, I know there are a lot of revival fans out there. We could kind of, when we make this statement, I think that it wouldn't be a stretch of the truth. We could probably all agree that, yep, that's probably the case, probably the scenario. And that is, how a team is in NXT doesn't necessarily transcribe itself. It doesn't sometimes project itself on the main roster and SmackDown and Raw, even if you actually even want to call it the main roster. Right? Really it's all one and the same, you might argue. But there's a difference. NXT, that's kind of Triple H and HBK territory under that umbrella. And it's evident, it's true, you're not going out on a limb here when you say that the people that watch NXT and don't necessarily watch, well, let's do this vice versa. The people that watch Raw and SmackDown are not the people that necessarily watch NXT. So what translated in NXT, for the revival, it never portrayed itself that way on the main roster. The gimmick, that's why if we want to call it a gimmick, the whole persona between the revival is, no flips, just fists. Well, no flips, just fists. That really, and I said this before, a couple of times, there was no charisma there. There was no personality. Maybe they have personality. Maybe they have charisma. It just never showed itself onto the TV screen. Now, why is that? I don't know. They were given opportunities to show charisma. And it just never really, honestly, to be honest, if we're honest with each other, when they came out on TV, more often than not, it was a lukewarm, indifferent reaction. And indifference is not a good reaction. It's not a good reaction. They were on TV. They were on TV numerous times. It's not like they were a case of EC3, which hardly even made the TV screen. You look at the revival, in a program with Randy Orton, they had the tag team straps a few times. So they were given chances, they were given opportunities. To me, they just never really got over. And listen, they were fighting against tag teams. They fought against the Usos. They fought against New Day. Was there ever really a memorable New Day Uso match? And everyone is saying, Young Bucks versus Revival, dream match. They should go to AEW. Well, the equivalent of the new Young Bucks, I think, is safe to say, the Usos in WWE. Did they really create magic? Did that mesh well? See, AEW, I don't think they will have much of a difference in the AEW as opposed to WWE. I don't think AEW is for them. You know, that type of style, the AEW, they like high flying, high spots. That fists, no flips. Well, it's not gonna really transcribe with the AEW fan. Yeah, it might the first couple weeks, then it gets old, and then, you know, what's gonna be said? Oh, they're boring. They're better audience where they could grab onto as far as the revival would be the NWA, which is simply focused on wrestling. It's an older demographic, and it works for the most part. So before you run and say, oh,